So here we are today. Donald Trump has launched an illegal, unconstitutional war against Iran right now. He did so without congressional approval, but he thinks he's a king, he thinks he's a dictator, and we are going to make him accountable. That is what I am all about.
I just saw in the news they're reporting that 3 U.S. service members have died. It's insane.
I feel like Donald Trump is trying to ignore the Epstein files.
Perhaps if there was a strategy, I'd be having a different conversation. We know there's not a strategy.
People are very, very nervous about our foreign policy, about our role in the world, and it cascades right down onto the streets.
When you guys get back to Washington, is there going to be a plan to try and put some guardrails around this?
Yeah, we need to reconvene immediately, and I do not support this action, which could open up a new endless war.
Frankly, I was disgusted, and I'm thankful for folks like you who are willing to step up and fight back.
Agree. We must put every member of the House and Senate on record on this issue in the War Powers Act vote, and I promise you that I will continue those fights, those battles every day that I'm given that privilege to. Thank you.
Do you think that it's likely that America will put boots on the ground, American soldiers, in Iran?
I think it's at least 50-50, if not immediately. So people keep expecting the escalation to be continuous. And then when there's a pause, as there was between June and February, they think, oh, it's over. I'm going to go now worry about something else. And then believe me, there's plenty else to worry about. So we got Minneapolis, so we got plenty to worry about here, even with violence. But that's not how escalation operates. Escalation can have a ratchet effect that's spaced out by months of what seems like peace, only to come right back, and you're stuck in that escalation momentum.
Which is what we've seen.
Which is exactly what we've seen. And for the reason I'm telling you, we don't know where that nuclear material is.
We did an excursion. You know what an excursion is? We had to take a little trip to get rid of some evil, very evil people. They don't know what the hell hit them, right? They don't know. They got hit by the American military. They don't know. They say, what the hell is happening? They didn't expect anything like this. Think of it. They knocked out 54 ships in 2 days, and they're real ships. In fact, I got angry at my people. I said, are they any good? Yeah, they're warships. I said, why the hell did we kill them? Why didn't we just capture them and use them in our Navy? They said they wouldn't have qualified for that. But I got a little upset with my people. I said, why do we have to knock them? And actually, one of my generals said, sir, it's a lot more fun doing it this way.
Everybody always asks, well, where's the money supposed to come from to help Americans and to fund social programs? Well, turns out it was there the whole time. In just 6 days of war with Iran, the Trump administration has already spent about $11.3 billion, $11.3 billion, less than a week, mind you, of taxpayer money gone on a war that nobody asked for, nobody voted for, one the president specifically, repeatedly said that he was not going to start. And here's the part that I think should really make everybody stop and think for a second. We are constantly told that there isn't enough money for programs that actually help Americans survive. However, temporary assistance for needy family grants cost about $7.4 billion a year. That's the program that helps the poorest families in the country keep food on the table. The Child Care Development Fund is about $2.4 billion. That helps working parents afford child care so they can actually go to work. The Social Services Block Grant is about $870 million, which funds services for seniors and disabled Americans and vulnerable families. Public health funding through the CDC is about $3.5 billion. And the Health Resources and Services Administration workforce programs are about $1.73 billion. To train doctors and nurses and healthcare workers. Altogether, these programs that support families and childcare and healthcare workers and public health, they cost less than what the United States just spent in under a week on war. Under a week, 6 days. Yet those are the programs that we're told have to be cut or withheld or slashed because of budget concerns. So somehow there's never money for struggling families or childcare or public health, but there's always billions of dollars ready the second it's time to start another war, right? This is what the United States is paying for, a war that Americans didn't want. Nobody wanted this, and we were told wouldn't happen. What?
I keep seeing videos about people being like, the Iranian diaspora is like so annoying. And I'm like, our families are being killed. Like, I'm sorry. When have we ever looked at the people being bombed and then seeing their families like cry about it, post about it, talk about it, and be like, yeah, they're kind of being annoying, right? Like, that's crazy. Like, imagine your friend died and you're at the funeral and you're like, God, sucks that Jimmy died, but his family is being kind of annoying about it. Like, we get it, okay? He died. Like, this is nuts, okay? The diaspora is being annoying because our family members are being killed. If not by the bombs, then the government. Like, I can't deal with the people. If you have something to say about the diaspora, I have something to say about you.
Why Iran keeps attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. It's not random. It's a calculated weapon. The Strait of Hormuz is only 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, yet 20% of the world's entire oil supply passes through it every single day. Nearly $500 billion in energy trade every year through one bottleneck. Here's what makes Iran's position unique. The shipping lanes don't just pass near Iran. Under international maritime law, they run directly through Iranian territorial waters. Iran doesn't need to sink every ship. It just needs to make insurance companies too scared to cover them. That's already happening. War risk premiums have more than tripled since the conflict escalated. No shipping company sends a crew into an uninsured war zone. So when Iran fires on a vessel crossing the strait, it's not targeting that ship. It's sending a direct message to Japan, South Korea, India, and every economy that runs on Gulf oil. Iran is not fighting the United States military head-on. It's using a 21-mile choke point as a loaded gun pointed at the global economy. This is what asymmetric warfare looks like in 2026.
President Trump, what have you heard about this bulletin that some law enforcement put out about a possible Iran revenge plot in California, where there would be some kind of a boat offshore launching drones towards the...
It's being investigated, but you have a lot of things happening, and all we can do is take them as they come. And the war itself is being prosecuted as well as anybody has ever seen, and this is other countries telling me too. Big countries, powerful countries, they said they've never seen anything like it. And they also agree with what I'm doing. They say it's an evil country, and it's been for 47 years that way.
Today will be, yet again, the highest volume of strikes that America has put over the skies of Iran and Tehran. The number of sorties and number of bomber pulses, the highest yet, ramping up and only up. Iran's leadership is in no better shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground, cowering. That's what rats do. We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Iran has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why. His father, dead. He's scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them.
When you think of what's going on in Iran, it is having consequences that could be politically difficult for Donald Trump. You wonder now what the balance is between those who say, no, let's plow on, let's go for another country, and those who say, no, let's do the opposite.
Yeah, I don't think they can plow on right now just because so much of America's military force attention is been redirected towards Iran, and as we discussed in previous episodes, there's no sign that that's going to end anytime soon, despite what Donald Trump says. Now, he might be able to reach some sort of a diplomatic agreement with Cuba that's short of parking an aircraft carrier off the coast and threatening them the way that we threatened Venezuela. But the type of amassing of forces that we saw outside of Venezuela and that run-up that we saw for months on end before we finally made our move against Maduro, that I don't think the United States is capable of that at this moment, because we have 2 carrier strike groups in the Middle East, and a third one possibly on the way, and ongoing military campaign there. It would take some time before we get to that point with Cuba, unless it's one of these ones where the diplomats take over and they finally, because of the economic pressure, they strike some sort of an agreement.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. It is Thursday. We are going to be doing yet another all-day live coverage broadcast. This could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. God knows how long at this point. Every single day we've been doing these. Things continue to escalate in the Middle East. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We are live right now on YouTube as well as on Rumble at Matt Morris TV, folks. Before we really start breaking down every single thing that we have missed over the last couple hours and get into our live breaking news coverage, some bullet point updates. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kurds and the Azerbaijanis are right now on the cusp of potentially invading Western Iran. We might see Kurdish and now Azerbaijani boots on the ground invading northern Western Iran. The Iranian regime now is also threatening to blow up an Israeli nuclear reactor at Dimona. They're talking a lot about that. So we'll have to look into that today as well. Our NATO allies, namely up in Europe, are now considering getting directly involved as things continue to escalate with this entire conflict. The Iranian regime also might be surrendering. We're hearing talks about the Iranian regime looking to make a deal and potentially even surrender. However, President Trump might have rejected this Iranian peace or de-escalation offer. The offer might not have been satisfactory for President Trump. There are 10 different stories going in 10 different ways right now. And we're also getting word that, you can already tell I'm losing my voice, goodness gracious. We're also getting word that tonight it is getting dark. It is actually just about sunset in the Middle East right now, sunset about an hour or 2 hours ago. We're also hearing that tonight in the Middle East is going to be particularly eventful, that there's going to be big action tonight in the Middle East. So we are going to be here all day for it. And also, of course, right now, you might have noticed over the last 2 days, we have had some technical difficulties with the start of our broadcast. And so I'm looking at the YouTube chat and the Rumble chat to make sure, folks, are we good? Are we having technical difficulties? The last 2 days, we have had a pretty turbulent start going live here on YouTube and Rumble. So hopefully we're not going to have any tech difficulties today.
We've confirmed some terrible and tragic news. A preliminary report by the Pentagon has found that it was a U.S. airstrike that hit a school in Iran on the first day of the U.S. attacks. That strike killed 175 people, according to Iranian officials. Most of them were school children. It was an elementary school, and many of them were younger than the age of 12. It's just a preliminary report. The White House responded to a question I sent them and said that the investigation is still ongoing. But this does appear to be a mistake by American targeting officers who decide where bombs should be dropped. The building, which is now a school, was part of an Iranian military base. It's right next to it. But in the last several years, this one building, a wall was built that separated the building that was turned into a school from the rest of the base. This is New York Times reporting. Satellite photos show that there was a playground built around the school. There were areas of asphalt that were painted over like a sports field, and on the walls of this building that became a school were painted pink and blue. Tragically and unfortunately, and this is what investigators have to find out, military targeters didn't look again at the school at more recent photos, apparently, and this bombing was carried out. We'll keep digging on this story to find out what went wrong, but this is one of the single worst incidents of the United States, unintentionally it appears, but still, the United States killing civilians in decades.
Breaking news just minutes ago. Divisions are reportedly emerging inside the Trump administration over the Iran war. According to a report by Reuters, sharp disagreements have begun to surface within the White House regarding the future direction of the conflict with Iran. The report says there is now an intense struggle between officials who support continuing the war and those who believe the United States should move toward ending the conflict quickly. Sources cited by Reuters claim that one of President Donald Trump's senior advisors has suggested declaring an early victory and bringing the fighting gliding to a close. However, other figures within the administration who support a more aggressive approach are reportedly pressuring the president to continue military operations. Reuters also reports that these internal disagreements may explain why Trump's public statements about the war have changed repeatedly in recent days. Meanwhile, U.S. intelligence assessments reportedly indicate that regime change in Iran is unlikely, despite the ongoing pressure. Political analysts warn the conflict could also have domestic consequences in the United States. Rising oil prices linked to the war may carry a political cost for the Republican Party if the conflict continues. The situation remains fluid as debates inside Washington intensify. More updates are expected as this story develops.
Okay, so it's been a while since this war has started, like I had predicted. It's my dog. And I'm not really sure what to feel right now because I haven't heard from my family. I've reached out on multiple occasions. There's an internet blackout. Nobody can get in or out. I don't know what's going on. The news is very vague. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's fake. I don't know what news station to trust because everything feels like it's AI. I'm not really sure what to do. There's a lot going on. And I feel like this is the general feeling of most Americans, but Iranian Americans, some people are celebrating it. Some people are like me that are terrified for their families. I'm happy that Khamenei is dead. I am not happy that they're still bombing. And that my family is there. So I would like to know everybody else's feelings on this. Like, I'm not really sure how to feel.
How are you feeling today?
Good, really good.
Are you Iranian?
I am.
And what would you want to say to President Trump for what's going on?
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Can I see what your sign says? Oh, how do you pronounce that? Is it MIGA?
It's Amiga, so basically.
Miga.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like make
Thank you.
Iran great again. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Thank you, Donald John Trump. Donald John Trump. Make America great again. Make America great again. Thank you. Donald John Trump, greatest president ever.
You gotta also say make Iran great again.
Make Iran great again.
Trump promised that there would be no war. And so to get into this war, conflict, whatever you want to call it, is such a fundamental betrayal of one of the core tenets of this movement.
Well, a lot of people are saying that it's an illegal war because it didn't get congressional approval.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
So this was the Trump administration's justification, very short and vague. I just want to get your reaction to it. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force on Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. Is that convincing to you?
No, not even the slightest. No, it's ridiculous. And it was completely like Bibi Netanyahu's dream to do it. And we just, fell into line, to say nothing of whatever the Russians have on Trump. So
absolutely. What if I told you this was actually the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months?
Oh, well.
Was that an illegal war too, you think?
Probably. I mean, without congressional justification, I think, Congress has been completely neutered. So, yeah.
You think Obama is guilty of the same infractions that Trump's committing now?
I'd have to go back and see what the issue was with Libya and Gaddafi.
Ambassador, but within your own country, Iran is attacking its own civilians.
No.
You rejected the claim.
Yes.
But there is proof that the civilians were attacked.
By Iran?
Yes. Your civilians in Iran, the protesters in Iran.
What happened in Iran, if you mean the developments in early January, it was not the peaceful protesters who were peacefully protesting in Iran. It was the complicated scenario which was planned and followed by the United States and Israel against the security of Iran.
Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. I'm filming this on March 13th, and we have more major updates out of Iran. Is a massive new wave of bombings have commenced, and we now have confirmation that the U.S. has sunk another Iranian submarine, but not in the fashion you might expect. So we got a lot of updates to get into. Plus, we got further comments from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and President Donald Trump. We got a lot to get into. Before we get into it, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge, huge, huge boost to the channel. Let me know in the comments below, how do you think the war is going? Who do you think is going to be able to tip the scales in a bigger fashion next? When will the Strait of Hormuz be open? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the notification bell. All notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then Instagram, David_Hookstead, X the Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are wide open. Reach out with whatever you got and give me a follow on both. Now let's get into it. So I'm going to put this up on the screen right away. So this is a massive American airstrike on the Iranian Air Force Base, and as full as the war continues to go. Let's go ahead and go full. The massive aftermath of the bombing after the Iranian Air Force Base was completely obliterated. Total overwhelming destruction. And then here, some absolutely insane footage. An A-10 going to work against Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. Let's watch. You can hear the gun right there, the cannon on the A-10, which it is famous for, going off.
حاجي اخلي المكان
And that right there is the cannon on the A-10, putting in work, taking out targets on the ground. Now, I do want to talk about this. We've talked about it before. We're going to talk about it again. Iran still retains some launch capabilities. New video out showing the latest wave of strikes against Israel and Gulf countries. Let's watch some of the footage. These are missiles going up. So these are Iranian ballistic missiles being fired at Israel and our allies in the region and U.S. positions. So I've said it before, I will say it again. The United States of America continues to pummel targets on the ground across Iran. Iran is still capable of firing some ballistic missiles, and they are doing a significant amount of damage. But here we have footage of interceptors in Israel going up. You see, they're coming, interceptors in the air. Right here, interceptors up. Hunting the ballistic missile. And then right here, boom. That is the ballistic missile being intercepted by the Israeli air defense systems. However, some ballistic missiles did get through. This is the aftermath of a ballistic missile strike in Iran. And then here we have Iran continuing to fire missiles at the U.S. base in Turkey at, I believe it's pronounced Kirlik Air Base. Now, what's important about this is we house nukes at this base. The United States of America has nukes at this air base, okay? and Iran is firing ballistic missiles at an airbase in Turkey with a nuclear stockpile. So let's go ahead and watch right here. See the missile coming in. And then it goes off screen, unclear whether or not it actually hit. But the fact the Iranians are willing to fire at a U.S. base with nukes on it is absolutely insane to me, and proves the kind of government and the kind of dictatorship we are dealing with. Furthermore, Iran striking in Bahrain. This is footage of the damage in Bahrain after Iranian drones and missiles successfully penetrated air defense systems. So Iran continues to land some strikes at a semi-frequent rate. Lastly, right here, it says a cargo vessel in the Strait of Hormuz, they bombed another ship, was hit by an unknown projectile north of Oman in the Strait of Hormuz. The vessel requested assistance and the crew are in the process of evacuating the vessel. Authorities are investigating following a fire on board, now under control, and a number of crew remain unlocated. So Iran continues to bomb ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and we so far, the honest truth is we have not opened it up all the way yet. Operations are underway. Pete Hegseth is going to have some comments here about that in a very, very short order. Now, next up here, we have an update. So I just made a video yesterday on March 12th about the status of Masoud Pezeshkian, the new leader of Iran, where I speculated, why haven't we seen this guy? He's only released one written statement. There are reports that he's had limbs amputated, that he's had organs that have been serious damage, and we really don't know his fate. Is he alive? Is he dead? Here's Pete Hegseth discussing right here.
We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Iran has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why. His father, dead. He's scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Iran may not even know.
So right there, backing up what I said in the video I made yesterday, even before Pete Hegseth's comments, we really do not know what is going on right now in terms of leadership in Iran. We do not know who is steering this boat. Yes, they have named a new supreme leader. We don't know if he's in a coma. We don't know if he's got his limbs. We don't know if he's actually in control whatsoever. It is a total mess with the Iranian leadership. And here, President Trump, with Brian Kilmeade, announcing the same thing.
We hear from the supreme leader in a long statement. We don't see him. He doesn't read the speech. They say he wrote the speech. First off, do you believe he's alive?
I think he probably is. I think he's damaged, but I think he's probably alive in some form, yeah.
What's up, beautiful and amazing people? So guys, in today's video, it's all about what the world is saying about the US-Iran war. We are in day 14 as we speak. And in case you don't know how this was started, it was on 28th of February 2026, where United States and Israel launched a large airstrike on the Iran, targeting their military and nuclear sites. So these particular strikes, of course, it unalived the Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei and of course other officials that were around him. This particular strike and his death shocked the entire region. So in response, Iran retaliated with missiles and drones against Israel and America bases across the Middle East. Like if you add any military bases across the Middle East, they were being attacked left, right, center. So a lot of things are happening at the moment as we speak. Number one, fighting has been continuing. It's actually 2 weeks today, and we have so many airstrikes, drone attacks, missiles launches. Who expected that? So Iran has attacked US bases and its allies in places like Kuwait, Bahrain, and the Gulf region. The US, on the other hand, and Israel are continuing with heavy strikes inside Iran, targeting military infrastructure and nuclear sites. So, as we speak, we have so many US soldiers who have been unfortunately unalived, and others are casualties, and the number is rising, unfortunately. This war of Iran and America has affected oil around the world. So, Iran is using oil routes as the pressure. They are disrupting traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, which is a key global oil passage. Around 20% of oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. On the other hand, oil prices have actually hiked. It has now gone above $100 per barrel. In this case, the world economy is affected negatively. And again, there is a risk of a bigger regional war because the conflict is spreading across Middle East with attacks and tensions in Lebanon, Gulf countries, and international shipping routes. So many people have come out to talk about this issue, and most of them, they are warning that this could become a long and expensive war if either of the sides doesn't want to back down. In this case, of course, Israel and US attacked Iran first. Then Israel is retaliated. The fighting has not yet stopped, and it is shocking the world. So we've listened to the couple of videos that we have here, and of course, Americans and just people around the world, they believe that America has lost respect across the world, and that is because of involving themselves in unjust wars. From actually imprisoning the president of Venezuela, Maduro, to Iran, and now they're talking about Cuba. So there are reports today that the Trump's administration, the officials in there, they are divided. Some support the war, some don't support. And in fact, we had a senator that came out and told the people that, you know what, the president got into this particular conflict without even consulting the Senate, which should have been done actually. Consult the Senate first, let people discuss so that they may know the advantages and the disadvantages. So the US are saying that, you know what, okay, the US Secretary came out earlier today in his speech, and there is something that he said critically. He claimed that Iran's leadership is in shambles. You know, they are actually hiding. They have microphones, they have social media. Why can't they come out and, you know, do a press and tell the world that this is what has been happening, this is our plan? The only thing they're doing is write statements. So I think he was actually trying to, you know, kind of diss them, like, yeah, you really fear, we really attacked you. And, you know, that's the kind of energy that he was trying to bring out, the US Secretary, because they're wondering, why has Iran not come out to speak publicly on video or in a press or in a TV? They are just doing their own things behind the scenes. Could it be that they have killed everybody that they wanted to unalive or what? So, my good people, about the Strait of Hormuz, that thing is it's one very, very critical route where 20% of the oil passes through. But Iran is attacking any ship that is passing through that particular route. And that, of course, is going to affect the world oil prices, and it's going to go very, very high. So as they keep attacking the ships, yeah, so many countries are going to be affected. Japan, China, Russia, everywhere. So what President Trump, what does President Trump really think about, the threat by Iran that they are going to attack Americans via drone attacks? The only thing that the president said was, we are going to deal with it as it comes. Like, what? Is that something that you can even tell a common citizen, somebody that is armless, that's somebody that is defenseless, like they can't really defend themselves? And then they are saying that, yeah, let them come, we will just deal with it as it comes. Oh man, that should have been the last thing to have ever been said to an American. So the administration of Donald Trump has already spent over 10 billion US dollars. Guys, did you hear that? And of course, it's from the taxpayers' money, nobody else's money. And it's very unfair, according to Americans, because they are vulnerable people in their country. They have, these programs that have been helping people in their country. But those, they're not being funded at, something that could have costed even 7 point something billion a year, a program that could have supported the people of America. It's not being funded. They actually banned it in the first place. But when it comes to such things, issues like Iran and these conflicts happening, billions and billions of dollars are being spent. Very unfair, right? Anyway, my good people, Iranian Americans have come out to speak, and I was wondering, like, why are they happy that the Khamenei regime is falling? But others, of course, they are actually crying. They are sad that their families over there are not doing well. They have not talked to them for like 10 days, and it's not okay. Not just in Iran, but also the Middle East, the entire Middle East. When there is internet blackout, then it means that people are not going to communicate, and of course, it's not good at all. And of course, these people are really stressed to the point that they don't, when they watch videos, when they listen to people talking, they are so confused and they're like, is this even real or fake? That's the point that they are at the moment. I guess those that are happy about what is happening there is that they don't have family members there, probably, because if you have a family member, you'll be really, really stressed. So when the President Trump wanted this power, he told the Americans that in my administration, there will be no war. But at the moment, everything is like it's the opposite of what he said. Opposite. Everything. I don't know what you think about that. Thank you. If you watched the clip up to this point, I really do appreciate your presence. I'll see you in the next video.